Have you ever struggled with money? Have you ever wondered why your money seemed not enough for your expenses? Do you find yourself always fighting for a loan whenever there is an emergency? Have you wished that you have enough funds for your financial goals? Ever since I was a kid, I know that money struggle is real. I saw my parents work hard, but it always seemed that we didn't have enough money for our needs and wants. They took turns working abroad for a higher salary because my mom wanted my siblings and I to finish our basic education in a private school. My mom believed if she could give us good education, we would be in a far better financial status. I saw my mom and dad struggled with money. When I was in high school, I studied hard and aimed to be at the top of my class so I can get full discount in my tuition fee. I graduated valedictorian from high school, became a licensed engineer, and started my career. During college, I met my husband, hardworking, intelligent, and whose family also struggled with money. Armed with good college degrees from a prestigious institution, we were confident we would have good careers. And we did. My husband is an engineering manager in a semiconductor company, and I was a professor in one of the universities in Baguio City. We didn't spend much in the education of our two sons, since their tuition fees were free as a faculty privilege. Since we had more money than we had before, we also spent more. We would dine out every week with our sons and bought a lot of toys and books for them. Whenever there is a sale, we would buy items even if we didn't need them. We bought grocery items without considering our budget. At the back of our minds, there will always be money since we both had a stable job. Unfortunately, after about 10 years of working, we found ourselves buried in credit card debt. I asked myself, why again are we struggling with money? Isn't having good careers with good salaries enough? Where have all our earnings gone? I wanted to raise our family together, so the possibility for my husband to work overseas was never an option. I had to find answers to my money problems. This is a good thing. I found solutions to our financial dilemma through the help of several financial mentors. We learned how to eliminate our debt, manage our money, and even multiply them. We now have a way much better financial status, and it is now my desire to help those who are like us before. If you used to be like me, a hardworking Filipino, but whose earnings do not seem to meet what you wanted to achieve in life, my book, entitled Plan Your Finances 6 Steps to a Crisis Proof Budget, is for you. This book contains practical principles that I learned in our journey. I also include some activities that you can do at the end of each chapter so you can plan your finances and do little steps to jumpstart your financial wellness journey. This is what I called a pyramid of a crisis-proof budget. Let me discuss these steps briefly. Like any pyramid, the base should be strong before going up. To have a crisis-proof budget, the first step is having a wealthy mindset. I learned that those who are wealthy have different money beliefs compared to those who are poor or struggling with money. The poor have negative money beliefs that do not help them. In my book, I negate two of these money beliefs and replace them with the correct money beliefs. I learned the difference between the poor formula and the wealth formula. My husband and I, in the early years of our marriage, followed the poor formula. So even though our salaries increased every year, we still found ourselves buried in debt. Fortunately, I learned that there is a wealth formula that good people use to accumulate wealth. We are applying that formula. That is why we are in a much better financial status now. The key is knowing what to do first upon receiving your salary. You can read what that is in my book. The second step to have a crisis-proof budget is having a positive cash flow. To have a positive cash flow, our earnings should exceed our expenses. If you're struggling to have positive cash flow, by this time, evaluate your budget and decrease your expenses. 8 years ago, my husband and I spent a lot of time budgeting our money. One day, we wondered where our money went and why we were in debt. When I started learning the proper ways on handling money, one of the basic practices I acquired is to have a monthly budget and not to spend on items not included in the budget. I learned to differentiate the essential from non-essential expenses. Now that I am financially literate, before I buy something, whether cheap or expensive, I ask myself several times, do I really need it? Does buying it help me achieve my financial goals? Do I own something similar to it which I can use at the moment? Another way to have a positive cash flow is to increase your earnings. I learned that a millionaire has an average of 7 income streams, and that we shouldn't be contented with one income stream. Having more than one income stream increases not only our cash flow, but also our financial security. When I learned of this, I thought of finding other means of augmenting our income aside from teaching in the university. I did some statistical work and math tutorials. I became open to invitation from friends to sell health products, cosmetics, books, and insurance. I found ways on how to earn passively in stock investing through capital appreciation and stock dividends, using affiliate income and others. I learned that if I want to meet my financial goals, I should always maintain a positive cash flow. Ask yourself, what skills do I have that I can monetize? What product or service can I offer to earn more income? The third step is having enough emergency fund. I don't know if you realize it by now, but it is our 6th month in community quarantine, and the COVID-19 pandemic is not yet over. I hope you have realized that a 6-month emergency fund is not enough. If a majority of the Filipinos were taught to set aside enough emergency fund, experiencing hardship during the community quarantine period could have been lessened. In my book, you would learn how to establish an emergency fund. The fourth step is having protection. A lot does not understand the concept of insurance, but it is a guaranteed security that would allow the dependents of a deceased breadwinner to fulfill their goals and dreams. An insurance policy is a breadwinner's love letter to his dependents. The wife of my deceased client approached me and said, I didn't believe in insurance before, but thanks for introducing it to my husband. The proceeds of the insurance helped them move on financially. The fifth step is eliminating debt. The interest in our debt takes away some of our hard-earned money, especially if the debt we incurred do not generate income. If possible, do not enter into a loan. I remember I got approved for 7 credit cards more than 10 years ago, and I would use them to swipe for our grocery items on sale or mindlessly using them to buy non-essential things. After more than a year of using them, I noticed that my husband and I cannot pay the full amount due for the cards, and we were paying more than 6,000 pesos interest per month, which ballooned our monthly dues. when the outstanding balance of our loan exceeded our monthly combined earnings. I knew I had to do something or we would be in deep financial trouble. We also had a housing loan. Instead of paying off our loan in 10 years, we terminated our loan in 6 years, saving the interest that we should be paying in 4 more years. We decided to pay off early the interest in that loan to save up on interest. Learn how we were able to terminate our loans in my book. The final step is to invest. Yes, you heard me right. Investment should be done after we have completed the first 5 steps. A lot of people like to invest, but they do not know the reason why they invest. I encourage you to formulate WISE or WISE investment goals. WISE is an acronym that I coined which means worthy, imaginative, superb, and exact. Learn more about WISE goals in my book. As a rule, before you invest, you should understand your investment plan and investigate about the stability and integrity of the investment company. I know of someone who told me that she and her husband invested large amounts of money in an investment scam years ago and lost a lot of money. As a result, they had to go to work outside the country to pay off their debts that they incurred because of that wrong investment. Since they did not do research before investing, instead of growing their money, they lost their hard-earned money and even got into debt. Learn some paper assets suitable for you in my book. Friends, we cannot control how long this pandemic would end, nor stop any crisis from happening in our lives. What we can do is to crisis-proof our budget by planning and acting now. It is my prayer that you develop the discipline to be financially successful and encourage others to do the same.